Welcome back, everyone. We have got Woke Flossie and myself, Gems, here for this GS Cup match between Charisma Check and Grape.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. We're going to get a chance to see some of those restricted Pokemon that we don't normally get to see in this VGC format, you know, since Sword and Shield has been out. But I'm very excited to see what emerges here.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to be completely honest. I have, at this point, played zero GS Cup. I know you've played a tour, but I've watched a decent amount of Chase playing his 5 a.m. Japanese ladder tours, which he's been streaming over on his personal channel. And I'll give a quick shout out real quick to Chase, to Tiki VGC. Y'all should check him out. He's doing some cool stuff over there. One of our fellow commentators and team builders here for ATX. I'm really excited with this matchup. We've got Venudon, return of a core. It's kind of like a mix mash of a core from, earlier. Hey, Aaron Volt, thanks so much for the follow. This is like a mix of a core from the Ultra Series with the current meta, with getting Venusaur using that Chlorophyll ability next to that Groudon setting the Drought. Now, obviously, these Pokemon are going to be used a lot different than they were in Ultra Series. They don't have access to their primal reversions, so it's just going to be regular old Drought and Drizzle from the Groudon and Kyogre. But we are going to be seeing some cool stuff. We've even got a new Pokemon here in the Calyrex Ice Rider.
I know, that one's exciting. That thing's terrifying in that it still maintains the Chilling Neigh ability, as well as, is it pressure or is it unnerve, right? The berry ability, right? So it maintains both abilities. And we also see that Dialga. Wait, that's a Dialga, right?
Yeah, that's a Dialga.
Mixed up. Yeah, Porygon 2, the Moongus, the Incineroar, and the Rotom Wash. So no real way to change the weather except for a max move on Grape's side. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely interesting enough. You're going to have to, if you're Grape and wanting to go for Trick Room, you've got to watch out for that Cresselia on the other side of the field. And here we see dueling Incineroars leading with Disruption, getting those Intimidates down alongside the Fake Outs, as this Xerneas is pretty free to go ahead and set up a Geomancy if it wants, but that also leaves Dialga incredibly free just to go for a turn one. Well, I guess not necessarily as free as you'd want to be for turn one Trick Room with Fake Out pressure on the board. You have to hope that your Incineroar is faster than the opposing Incineroar.
Yeah, we could even see just some offense from the Dialga right away, like a Max Steel Spike into maybe a Geomancying Xerneas. But we are just going to see the Protect turn one, probably trying to avoid a Fake Out coming from the opposing Incineroar. But Grape goes ahead and calls that and fakes out Charisma's Incineroar.
Yeah, so now this Dialga is in a really nice position. Going to be slower than that Xerneas, and you really don't want to be going for your Geomancy here under Trick Room. You're gonna have to repivot around and try and get that Groudon in a position where maybe it can threaten a bunch of damage onto Dialga.
Did I just see Charisma click Geomancy? We'll see.
He might have still clicked it.
Madman.
Yeah,
let's see what happens here.
It's definitely a difficult position because you don't really have a great switch into a Steel Spike here with Alecki and Groudon being the two in the back. Both of them not going to take it super well. I know that Alecki, just kind of paper-thin defenses. And we see here as the Incineroar opts to go ahead and pivot with a U-turn coming out. Perhaps noting that it might be something like Assault Vest and doesn't have access to Parting Shot, or just preferring a little bit of chip damage.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Usually we see U-turn. When we see U-turn on Incineroar, it is something like an Assault Vest. And we see the Earthquake coming out from the Incineroar, self-proccing the weakness policy on this Dialga. I feel like this Xerneas might be a goner.
Yeah, so no matter what is taking this Steel Spike right here, it's pretty much gone.
Elma.
That Dialga getting the weakness policy boost up, And interesting tech from the Earthquake Incineroar, not necessarily dealing like not something weak like a bulldoze, but actually seeing something like an earthquake that has the potential to do a bit more damage. This Incineroar is now at -2 from the opposing Incineroar's Intimidates, but yeah, this this Dialga obviously gonna be a little threatened by a Groudon, but likely it's gonna be underspeeding a Groudon here in Trick Room.
Yeah, I think this Groudon is going to be content to try to fire off a Precipice Blades, which would hit both targets. I mean, if it hits both targets, that could deal a lot of damage. It also could be a good Dynamax candidate here, maybe firing off, getting rid of the Incineroar. Maybe you want to boost your defenses or just set up the Sun for the partner Pokemon, but we don't see a Max here.
Yep, we just see a Snarl come out from the from Charisma's Incineroar, going to go ahead and try and take down this Dialga by one stage, and a Parting Shot coming out from Grape's Incineroar. Gonna go ahead and get that momentum and the switch into something that maybe wants to take a Precipice Blades a little bit easier. Something like
maybe that Rotom.
Yeah, the Rotom or the Amoonguss being in a position to where it can. I feel like you can't necessarily bring in that. I was gonna say it feels really dangerous to bring in that Calyrex. I guess we'll see just how much a Precipice Blades at -1 can do into Calyrex.
If it hits.
Yeah, if it hits. It is a wide lens. So actually, yeah, that's no damage whatsoever. This is something where I don't have intuitive calcs yet for GS Cup, so I'm really just like, I don't know how much that should or should not do.
Very nice. That Incineroar is going to hang on, surviving that Max Quake from the Dialga.
Yeah, I don't think that it actually wants to, because now it's in range of a Glacial Lance, which will just automatically proc the, not the Chilling Neigh, but the As One ability here. So
it's true.
It kind of leaves itself in a position to where it's going to be picked up probably by this Glacial Lance, which is a spread move and guaranteed damage onto both of these targets. This is gonna be my first time seeing this animation, and that is really cool.
It is cool. Some of these are really cool. I really liked Kyogre's Origin Pulse too. I thought that was a cool one. We're gonna see the Alecki hang on with its Focus Sash, but there is the KO on the Incineroar, and there's the Chilling Neigh boost.
Yeah, so now this Alecki gonna go down to whatever this Dialga did, as long as it didn't max guard, which we already saw it didn't. As the Steel Spike will get a +1 defense onto this Calyrex, putting yourself in an even better position. This really oppressive combination of damage, both from the Calyrex Ice Rider and from this Dialga. Grape really utilizing those restricteds incredibly well here.
Yeah, so the bad news for Charisma is that you've only got one Pokemon left, but the good news is Dialga's Dynamax is over, and that one Pokemon you have left is a Groudon.
Yeah, for sure. We do see that there's still one more turn of Trick Room right here, so you might just want to go ahead and protect through this last one, knowing that you should be able to, you know, Dynamax next turn and go ahead and take a KO onto the Calyrex Ice Rider. I think the biggest problem is just going to be if you do take that KO, the Dialga is just so free to set Trick Room yet again.
Yeah, and both of these Pokemon are threatening offensive damage because of their respective attack boosts that they've gotten.
And the defense boost as well from the Dialga's Steel Spikes. It's almost like, do you think that a Precipice Blade crit's really your only way through this? And foregoing a max, so...
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if Groudon's going to be able to pull it back here. Maybe hoping for a misplay from Grape. Maybe waiting for Grape to, you know, misstep. Or maybe just, this is game one, you know, checking out which restricteds Grape is bringing to the game and maybe formulating a game 2 plan.
Yeah, it might also be a good time to start to get some internal idea of how much these calcs do. So you know that even at +1 defense, it looks like that max rockfall is, okay, critical hit, so not even helpful for the intuitive calcs. I was like, I don't think it should be KOing there, given how bulky that thing is. +1 defense onto that. Yeah, so that's, you know, not even super helpful. So you do bring back in the Incineroar now, and you're going to have to be back to -1. This Incineroar should be underspeeding you, so you're likely going to be -2 before you even get another one. And actually, it's just going to be the Amoonguss to add insult injury and just go ahead and put you to sleep.
Yeah, Grape going ahead and revealing the last Pokemon here, saying it's worth it.
Yep, Amoonguss opts for the Spore here. Probably just going to be a Flash Cannon coming out from this Dialga. Guess we'll get an idea of just how much a +1 Flash Cannon can do into this. We see a Dodge Spore come out. You know what? If that's a win condition, that's a win condition.
Yep.
So potentially on a min roll of sleep, this is something where you could maybe start to claw it back, but I think just one more Flash Cannon just kind of seals this up. And Grape going for the super safe play of the Rage Powder, as the Groudon manages to stay asleep for one extra turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironic enough that the player who's playing Venudon is the one who had 2 of their Dynamax turns wasted by sleep.
Yeah, interesting. I do think that Grape did a great job of, just protecting that Dialga, which is not only your Trick Room setter, but dealt like huge damage after that weakness policy proc. So I think Charisma's gonna have to find a way around that Dialga for game 2.
Yeah, for sure. That Dialga came out on turn 1 and has remained on the field for the entirety of the game. Turn 1 setting Trick Room. And then from there, just being able to, kind of continually put itself in a position to be on the field, be bulky, get those steel spikes up, and continue to boost your attack with that weakness policy. It just really has a great matchup against a good chunk of Charisma's team here.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to see the Venudon in this game of the match. The Dialga can't set Trick Room if it's asleep, so we could see something like that. Of course, you will have to work around the opposing Incineroar's Fake Out.
Yeah.
Or you could bring your own Trick Room mode.
It's true. Yeah, you do have your own Cresselia here, where you could potentially look to reverse a Trick Room after it's been set, or I'm not sure the moveset on this one, if it has something like an Imprison, and to be able to shut that down. Interestingly enough, it is Colbur Berry on this Cresselia, and if it was facing the Knight Rider version of Calyrex, it actually wouldn't be able to utilize. Well, no, okay, Knight Rider is Ghost, but yeah, never mind. I'm still learning all my types of these new Calyrex fusion forms. I've really only used Ice Horse and Ghost Horse to this point in VGC.
Yeah, me too. I saw a question earlier in the Discord about how to EV one of these like Calyrex fusions, and I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I believe that was actually
I think we got an answer. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
nice.
Grape asking specifically for the matchup tonight. So
nice.
We see here as we're gonna have game number 2. I forgot to update the overlay, so give me 1 sec while I do that. And if you want to call the leads, I say go for it.
Sure. We're gonna see Grape send out the Incineroar and the Dialga once again, not surprising. And it looks like we're going to see the Xerneas again, but this time paired with a Cresselia, a shiny Cresselia at that.
Yeah, so
now,
go ahead.
Going for Trick Room might be, a little more risky with that Cresselia on the field, presuming that it also has access to Trick Room.
Yeah, and looking at the kind of moves that it has, you really have to play the mind game of not only Trick Room, but once in Trick Room, something like a ally switch coming out from the Xerneas. This play right here could go really risky for Charisma if something like a Parting Shot plus a Max Steel Spike could potentially go off, or just like a Flare Blitz plus Max Steel Spike into the Xerneas, just to guarantee that setup. It's so scary on this turn 1, and it's such a mind game
to
of
click
thinking
Trick Room.
and setting it for your opponent. Obviously, looking at Charisma's team, there's not a whole lot that really wants to abuse being in Trick Room. It could potentially be. We do see in front a Grape make the call here. Is going to go ahead and Dynamax on turn number 1 with this Dialga. Oh.
Yep. Gonna go ahead and forego setting up Trick Room for now, saying I think I will be content to get some damage on the field.
Yeah, we actually see the fake out from the Incineroar to go ahead and block anything like a Geomancy, not wanting to have to deal with that +2 defense, special defense. Really well played from Grape here, as you know, taking down the Xerneas again before it can get anything going, and getting the Trick Room without having to set it yourself.
Yep. So Grape got 3 moves that turn, essentially. I think that Xerneas, at least for the foreseeable future until something really changes, is going to be playing with a bit of a target on its back. I know it was a very, controversial Pokemon, you know? People loved it, people hated it. It just is really powerful if it does get that Geomancy set up. So I feel like targeting the Xerneas is probably a good call in most cases.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the introduction of some new Pokemon here in Generation 8, looking to counter Xerneas a little bit, as we just see a Parting Shot, which will counteract that Helping Hand coming out from the Cresselia. And it looks like this Incineroar is just going to be content to let the Groudon proc the Weakness Policy onto the Dialga.
Yeah, and the Dialga is now just free to kind of go for Steel Spikes, you know, just boosting up its physical defense, knowing that the Groudon is, in fact, the other restricted. But there we see the Precipice Blades go ahead and proc the Weakness Policy on the Dialga as it goes for a Steel Spike, presumably into that Cresselia. Not going to be enough to KO it, but importantly, it is going to boost the defenses, the physical defenses of both Dialga and its partner Amoonguss.
Yeah, and now this Amoonguss is in such a free Spore position, you obviously have to be a little bit concerned about a Psyshock coming out from that Cresselia, and it looks like that's exactly what Grape was afraid of. Pivots directly into that Incineroar, baiting the Psyshock. And let's see exactly how this Dialga targeted on its last turn of Dynamax.
Yeah, also cycling that Intimidate back in, lowering the physical attack of the Groudon. So as the Dialga boosts its physical attack and the Incineroar lowers the physical attack of the Groudon is not going to be threatening a knockout on to either of these Pokemon, I don't believe. But we just see a max guard.
Yep, max guard, so it won't be going down this turn, but it is now at -2, and the Dialga correctly calls the max guard, goes for the max Steel Spike, getting itself up to +2 special attack, +2 defense, against this -2 Groudon that's probably just going to be taking potentially you could fake out to block it, but more than likely just going to be taking something like a Parting Shot or a direct switch out, just to guarantee one more turn of cycling that. So,
yep, I think that's probably a good call, especially since both of Charisma's Pokemon that are left are physical attackers.
Yeah, that is the last turn of Dynamax here from this Dialga, so that is one thing that Charisma has going for him, where it is not necessarily, he has the Dynamax advantage for the remainder of this game. It's just going to be what can he do with these turns of Dynamax from this Groudon as its attack continually gets dropped, and the relative defense on this Palkia is pretty good.
Yeah, Snarl does a little chunk of damage coming out, importantly going to lower the special attack of that Dialga though. And we do see the Parting Shot come out from the Incineroar, which is going to again lower. That's now a -3 Groudon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, -3 Groudon. I believe it targeted the partner, so it's not going to be facing -3 into +2 defense. But -3, I think you're pretty safe to bring your Calyrex. You are risking a crit here, potentially, from either a Max Flare or Max Quake. A little bit scary here, but it looks like the crit did not come through, as that does no kinds of damage into this Calyrex Ice Rider, who is now just incredibly free with fake out pressure off the board, just to be going for Glacial Lance next turn. The Earth Power here notably does quite a bit less. We saw that is definitely an Assault Vest Incineroar, and the Snarl damage, or the Snarl drop, really doing a whole lot of work. So here the Glacial Lance comes out, doesn't pick up any KOs, but does get some really good spread damage down, as we see it's the Life Orb Calyrex here. Flare Blitz will follow from this Incineroar into that Calyrex, gonna be enough for that one-hit KO, and maybe this Groudon can start to claw it back here. perhaps a crit right here.
Yeah, we'll see. That Incineroar took a lot of recoil damage from that Flare Blitz, but the Max Quake is just not going to do enough. You do get the special defense boost, which I suppose is helpful. But really, just the damage output is just not enough to take care of this Dialga.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's in a position where as Trick Room expires, it's probably going to be in a position where it can set it again from this from this Groudon. Especially if you bring back in this Incineroar. It's now at -4. You're at +2 defense.
With no way to reset.
Yeah,
I think Grape has done that really well. Grape has been able to use not only the offensive synergy, right, but the synergy between the Dynamax moves and what they're doing to their opponent and the offenses and defenses of their opponent. Not so much to get off the biggest damage, but to mitigate the biggest damage. And I think that's really what we're seeing here. The fruits of.
Yeah, so we see here the Groudon goes for that Protect into the Fake Out from the Incineroar as Dialga just opts to go ahead and go for another Trick Room. This Groudon is notably slower than the Dialga, so it does move first in Trick Room, but I really think that in this position, Grape is potentially trying to pivot that Amoonguss back in. If you can get back in, set this Groudon to sleep, and still have a Dialga, you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, and maybe it looked like Charisma might have tried to call that, maybe going for a Fire Punch into that Incineroar slot. I didn't see what he ended up clicking, but
yeah,
I still don't think there's going to be enough damage output to do any work.
Yeah, at a certain point, you're starting to tempt fate with crits here.
Yeah.
This Groudon's had a lot of opportunities. Here comes the Precipice Blades right here. And it looks like it is going to be a critical hit into that Dialga, and it's going to take the KO.
Yep. Maybe Grape feeling confident enough, like even if I do get crit once, what are the chances I get crit twice? Yeah, maybe like you said, tempting fate.
Yeah, so in this positioning, you're unable to reset any kind of you're unable to reset any kind of Trick Room now that the Dialga is off the field. This Groudon's free to go for a Protect on this turn. But yeah, this poor Groudon is now -6.
Yeah. Poor Groudon. It is a cool shiny Groudon.
It is, for sure. Eventually, I think it's going to be meeting its Spore endgame. The real question is just how much damage the Incineroar and Amoonguss can really produce here into this Groudon as the game goes on. Obviously, all else being equal, you'd think Groudon has this matchup tied up, but being at +6 and basically requiring a crit to get any kind of knockout here is going to be really tough.
It is. I think we saw the Incineroar click Flare Blitz, maybe being its most damaging move against this Groudon, and there we see the Spore come out. Not surprising. Groudon's going to go ahead and take its first turn of sleep this turn.
Yeah, that is a 2-hit KO there from that Flare Blitz as well. Groudon does take its first mandatory turn of sleep, but with this Incineroar underspeeding it, it's pretty much a guaranteed win here for Grape.
Yeah, that was well played by both players. It looks like Charisma's just going to throw in the towel on this one. Maybe not quite the best matchup. You have that restricted Dialga that threatens a number of your Pokemon, like you said, early match, and it was just a little bit, couldn't quite get in the right position to take him out.
Yeah, for sure. Really well played by both players here. This is a completely new meta playing GS Cup. It's really tough, one, to get any kind of practice in, and two, to get a whole lot of team building in, especially when we don't have an official rule setting game. This was fun to get to do as an exhibition game. We'll continue to have this as an option when you sign up for the ATX VGC Monday Night Friendlies. So we'll continue to ask, do you want to play Series 7 or GS Cup? So really fun set there. Tough matchup there for Charisma.
Yeah.